gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
District is reeling after the recent and tragic shootings of two children. Friday morning, a 17-year-old girl in Dunbar High School was hit in the forehead by a bullet while she was sitting in her classroom. Later that night, 3-year-old Tyah Settles was shot and killed while sitting in an SUV along Harford Street Southeast. News 4's Mauricio Casillas joins us now live from police headquarters with the latest on their efforts to hold the shooters in both of these cases accountable. Mauricio?
Leon, in the case of the Dunbar High School shooting, police have arrested and charged two teens. Both are students at Dunbar High School. And D.C. police are telling News 4 that they expect more arrests in that case. As for the shooting of 3-year-old Tyah Settles, police are still searching for her killer. Today, for the first time, Mayor Bowser addressed both of the shootings.
Damn.
A chaotic shootout near Dunbar High School caught on camera. After the barrage of bullets, a group of teens is seen running away in this alleyway.
A shootout at a high school. And y'all wonder why people want school choice. Our schools are riddled with violence. Those are the facts. It's an unfortunate fact, but the community is doing nothing about it. Therefore, it looks horrible. It looks bad. It looks like the black community as a whole just cannot control itself. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Police have arrested two of the teens seen here holding guns. On the left, 17-year-old Saki Frost, who's being charged as an adult. 18-year-old Azari Graves is on the right. Both are being held without bond. There was an increased police presence as students returned to school this morning, many still coming to grips with what happened.
Really, it's disturbing. It's really disturbing. I just think that, the administrators, they just need to do a little bit more, with checking into these kids.
Frost and Graves are both students at Dunbar High School. Mayor Muriel Bowser says a big concern is the fact that they were out in the streets rather than in class.
Parents, community, police, we are all hyper-focused on making sure kids are where they're supposed to be, and kids who have guns are in the place that they're supposed to be.
News 4 has learned the 17-year-old victim was a varsity athlete at Dunbar High. Court documents state she was talking to a teacher inside a classroom when she was grazed by a bullet.
Wow.
And the wound was deep enough that her skull was visible.
Wow.
Court documents state another student may have swallowed some glass when the window shattered.
Damn.
Both are expected to recover from their injuries.
Thank
All
God.
prayers go out to her and her family and this school, obviously, because, it was crazy of what we witnessed on Friday.
Friday night, the gun violence became even worse. 3-year-old Tyah Settles killed while sitting in a car, caught in an exchange of gunfire. Tyah is the youngest homicide victim in the district this year. Mayor Bowser, who just last week suggested the media wasn't covering the drop in violent crime, voiced her anger over the loss of another child, calling on people to put the guns down.
Let me say how tragic an incident this is, and I feel like a broken record when I say that, because unfortunately I've had to talk to you about children who should be with us.
The two teens in the Dunbar High School shooting, the suspects there are due back in court on May 28th. As for the killing of 3-year-old Tyah Settles, police still searching for a motive, still searching for suspects, but we could tell you they are now offering a $50,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest and conviction. Live from police headquarters, Mauricio Casillas, News 4.
Here's hoping that starts the ball rolling. Mauricio, thank you.
Mary Miller, tonight the big story. We're hearing from the family of Tyah Settles, the young child killed in a shooting in Southeast Washington last night. Our John Duran visited the scene today where a memorial stands for that child right now.
Wow. So there you have it. Right out the gate. a 3-year-old young black girl was shot and killed in DC, Chocolate City, right? Guys, we have a major issue in the community, and I've been speaking on it for years, and this is a perfect example. These super gremlins are on demon time.
There's still a DC police presence on Hartford Street Southeast Saturday after they say a 3-year-old was shot and killed here Friday night. And on Saturday afternoon, we watched as a memorial was set up for that child by her godfather.
Some things I bought for her. She loved Mickey Mouse, and she loved the doll babies.
Bernard Brown came here to make sure his goddaughter is remembered.
Tyah, she was a great young child. She was 3 years old. She had the smarts of a 7-year-old.
A bright spot in Brown's life, senselessly taken.
We used to call her our Wooda girl.
Police say Settles was shot while inside a car just after 9 p.m. Then airlifted to a hospital where she was pronounced dead.
We loved her very much.
Just like that, man. And it's an instant, a ninja moment where everybody, you know, who's involved in the altercation is unharmed, untouched, and the innocent bystander, in this case, a 3-year-old girl, baby girl, was killed. Unfortunately, this is the norm in the community. Baby killers. These ninjas are baby killers. These hood ninjas, these ninjas who are claiming to be the most street, the most, you know, hard, you know, the hardest ninjas in the streets. They're baby killers, and don't you ever forget it. And we should be calling them out and labeling them as such. But, you know, there is a faction that is continually protecting these baby killers. And it has to stop.
Daylight Saturday shows at least 5 cars on either side of Hartford Street Southeast were hit with gunfire. A witness told me she heard 20 to 30 shots.
When I woke up this morning, I was still a little shaken, a little taken that, damn, we lost a little girl in our community for absolutely nothing.
DC Councilmember Trayon White represents this area and went to the scene Friday night.
These individuals is doing these crimes. They are our nephews, nieces, cousins, sons, daughters. They live around here. They're not coming from nowhere else. We have to start changing the narrative of what we seen and deem as acceptable in our community.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fact. We have to start changing the narrative. We have to start doing something to change the going-ons of the community. This is something that I've been speaking out for the longest, and people don't want to accept it's the norm. The community doesn't want to accept it, but it's the reality.
DC police are searching for the suspect or suspects responsible for Settles' death. Her family is in disbelief.
She didn't deserve this.
And praying for justice.
I would rather be me than her.
In Southeast DC, John Duran, WUSA 9.
Tonight with the search for justice and the latest story of heartbreak in the district.
The search continues now for whoever shot and killed a 3-year-old girl in Southeast on Friday night. Now new action has been taken in hopes of making an arrest. 7 News reporter Rebecca Turco joining us live outside police headquarters with the latest. And Rebecca,
there is something that you guys have to understand. It's very difficult to catch these ninjas who do these shootouts because the community has a no snitching code of silence. The black community as a whole has a no snitching code of silence. Okay? And the pressure is on, because if you don't crack this code or get a viable suspect within the first 48 hours, statistically, it's going to be very difficult to find a suspect or a perpetrator for this murder going forward. That's why, you know, the first 48 are so important, because there's evidence at the scene of the crime. There's evidence, you know, locally, people running around, ring doorbells, all these kind of things that help officers do their jobs and find these baby killers. But unfortunately, the community has a no snitching code, and that is in full effect, especially when a child is killed, but unfortunately.
An increased reward now, we understand, in this case.
An increased reward, and today we saw police putting up these Crime Solvers flyers on cars in the area by the crime scene, letting people know they can come forward with anonymous tips, and that was right near a makeshift memorial for that little girl that's only growing. Stuffed animals and balloons lovingly placed near the spot where Tyah Settles was shot Friday night in Southeast DC. She later died at the hospital.
It's certainly a sad situation. My condolences to the family and the community.
According to police, the 3-year-old was inside a car on Hartford Street when she was hit 3 nights ago. First responders found her at a nearby fire station around 9:10 p.m. Today, the mayor spoke out against the killing of yet another child.
We as a community have to say enough is enough for people who have guns and use guns in our community.
Police are putting these Crime Solvers flyers on cars in the area, informing people they can make tips anonymously if they know something.
The communities have been reaching out very actively with giving us various tips.
Now there's a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of whoever's responsible.
So the police say that the community is actively working to give tips. So that's a change from the norm, but obviously we're not used to seeing this type of rigorous help when it comes to the police, because we know the community has a negative perception and relationship with police, as it is told on the national stage.
Today I asked the chief whether police have any suspects yet, whether the shooting was targeted or random. She says it's still under investigation.
At the end of the day, this is a senseless crime. This should not have ever happened. The family is there in the neighborhood making a decision about what their next steps are going to be, and this senseless type of violence has to stop in our city.
And the chief says her Faith Advisory Council is organizing a peace walk in response to all of this. That's set for Friday. And in the meantime, the little girl's family is going to be holding a vigil tonight. We're actually headed that way next. For now, reporting live from police headquarters, Rebecca Turco, 7 News.
Police, the ATF, and the FBI are offering $50,000 to the person who can turn in the killer or killers of a 3-year-old little girl. Tyah Settles was traveling in a car on Hartford Street Southeast when a bullet pierced through that car and killed her. Delia Gonsalves is live outside the 7th Police District with new reaction from Mayor Bowser. And Delia, I understand that folks are telling you that they're not satisfied with this increased reward. Is that correct?
They simply are not. This is a hard story to tell. And, they say no money, and we know no money will ever bring back the sweet little girl. No price is worth the innocent life that was stolen from her family and from her community. But her friends and family members tell me, let's be honest, money talks, especially in this community. So if police really want to solve this murder, they will increase that reward to $100,000 to get someone to speak up. There's a growing memorial for that little girl at the scene of Friday's shooting. We stopped by earlier today. That memorial paying tribute to a toddler who loved Mickey Mouse, her baby dolls, a bright child who was looking forward to starting preschool soon. Police say Tyah Settles was caught in the crossfire when shots rang out in the 2300 block of Hartford Street Friday night. Witnesses told us they heard as many as 20 to 30 shots, and we saw several bullet holes in a number of cars parked nearby. Today, I asked Mayor Bowser about the deadly shooting, and she says the city will do everything it can to find the people responsible.
Let me say how tragic an incident this is, and I feel like a broken record when I say that, because unfortunately I've had to talk to you about children who should be with us, but because people are brazen, use guns, she's not. And so
she's right about these super gremlins being brazen, but they always try and deflect and blame it on the guns. And like I've always said, these weapons, these firearms are inanimate objects. They can only do what the person who has possession of these objects wants them to do. So let's talk about the mindset in which is festering in the community and creating this dangerous environment to live amongst.
As a community, have to say enough is enough for people who have guns and use guns in our community.
What does she want me to say? Enough is enough, Muriel Bowser. Enough is enough. It's not fair.
But, you know, they're saying this out of one side of their mouths, but then electing soft on crime representatives. These people don't really want the problem solved. I mean, I'm sure she feels like she wants the problem solved, but the actions are not representing that of solutions, right? It's not good enough to just say, hey, put the guns down, enough is enough, let's pray it away. No, you have to lock these individuals up. These are super gremlins on demon time, and they're not gonna stop until you take them to hell.
It's not fair for mothers and fathers to be losing their kids and we to be losing our parents or my own life. The blood is on our hand because we have been crying over here in Ward 8.
And they cut her off because I think she was about to start, you know, preaching. I think she was about to start, you know, saying some uncomfortable truths that the mainstream liberal media doesn't want us to hear, right? Because it sounded like she was gonna say, we've been crying about police, we've been crying about, you know, outside forces, white supremacy, but in reality, we got these super gremlins terrorizing the neighborhoods.
Strong words right there from a longtime resident of Ward 8. 30 years she says she's owned her house here, and she said she can't even enjoy living in her own home because of the increased violence. She's also a former ANC commissioner, so has worked for the city government and says has supported Mayor Bowser for a long time, but she just clearly is frustrated at what she sees as a lack of resources and support for this community. Get this community reeling because this is the third murder that they've experienced in the last 3 weeks, all of them 1 mile from each other. Simone?
You could just feel the pain and the frustration, the energy that was coming off of her. And we've seen so many people at home echoing that sentiment on social media in the wake of Tyah's death. And we'll be checking in with you for more updates. Delia, thank you.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Janquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
Is it MPD Head
Story? It's now been 3 days since 3-year-old Tyah Settles was shot and killed in Southeast D.C.
Tonight, police are still searching for the shooter or shooters. Fox 5's David Kaplan is at MPD headquarters with the latest. David?
Woo! So 3 days in and we still don't have a shooter or shooters. Guys, doesn't look like, you know, we're on the right track so far.
Jim and Marina, good evening to you. I've had the chance to speak with a couple members of Tyah Settles' family in the last couple of days. They are having a hard time putting into words how truly devastated they are by the passing of this little 3-year-old girl who, by all accounts, was just sitting in a vehicle in Southeast D.C. Friday night when gunfire erupted around her, one of those bullets striking and eventually killing her. She was a 3-year-old girl who we're told was creative, loved drawing, loved Mickey Mouse and dolls, and smiled all the time. And for a 3-year-old girl, family says she had a special way of showing affection to people who loved her. Things like cuddling up with them on the couch when they would put her favorite cartoon on. Bernard Brown is Tyah Settles' godfather. Take a listen.
The family is processing it just like any other family is processing such a tragedy. It's very hard, you know. One minute you think that the tears will stop flowing, and the next minute they come even heavier.
According to police, the shooting happened around 9 o'clock Friday night on Hartford Street Southeast. Tyah was rushed to a nearby fire station, taken to a hospital where she later died. DC police indicated on Friday they didn't have a ton of information about a shooter or shooters, and to date haven't released anything publicly about who they may be looking for. This morning, they did announce a doubling of the reward money from $25,000 to $50,000.
So what does that tell me? That tells me that there were tips coming in, but the tips weren't as helpful as, you know, to leading to a suspect. Probably very vague tips. Yeah, I saw some ninjas running. I heard some shooting in my backyard, and then I seen a ninja with a Pooh Shiesty mask. They're not putting out a description, so now they have to up the reward. And when they do things like this, it tends to these types of crimes tend to go unsolved for a while, and I believe that police are going to solve it one way or another, but I think it's going to take some time.
Fox 5 catching up with DC Mayor Muriel Bowser about this today, who said accountability matters.
Let me say how tragic an incident this is, and I feel like a broken record when I say that, because unfortunately I've had to talk to you about children.
Well, this is on your watch, Mayor Muriel. I mean, when are we gonna have the discussion? Look, bro, these people are not fit to lead. They're not. It's just the reality. And we're seeing time and time again in every, you know, major Democratic city, the puppets that they put up in front of us to represent the black community, not fit to lead at all.
Who should be with us, but because people are brazen, use guns, she's not. And so we as a community have to say enough is enough for people who have guns and use guns in our community.
DC Police Chief Pamela Smith said that there have been a few tips that have come in since this shooting happened on Friday night. The commander on scene Friday night had indicated that they didn't have a ton to go on preliminarily, that they would be relying heavily on community tips. So obviously, again, we've just heard that Chief Smith said that some of those have been coming in. If there are any updates on this investigation, we'll be sure to keep you posted. Jim, Marina.
Begin in the district with another shooting tragedy. This time it's a 3-year-old girl who was shot and killed in Southeast DC.
Happened Friday night, and this morning investigators are still searching for the suspect or suspects responsible.
The family of the young victim, Tyah Settles, is speaking with Fox 5. This morning, David Kaplan spoke with the girl's godfather.
Tyah was such a beautiful young child. She had a great heart.
Bernard Brown is convinced his goddaughter, 3-year-old Tyah Settles, could have been anything she wanted when she grew up.
Doctor, the next lawyer, the next president. She missed all those good things.
But there's unimaginable pain, he says, in knowing the girl who loved Mickey Mouse and dolls, who danced and loved and was curious. Police say 100 block of Hartford Street Southeast around 9 Friday night, when the car she was in was caught in what was believed to be a gunfight. She was hit. Her family rushed her to a nearby fire station. She was airlifted to a hospital where she later died.
An individual such as myself, such as the family, would never think that something so tragic would happen to, and hits home and hits.
Right at this moment is a difficult thing. Families are suffering. It hurts.
Joseph Johnson's the ANC commissioner for this neighborhood and knows this family. He says the community feels this pain too, encouraging anyone with information to come forward, or for the shooter or shooters to turn themselves in.
Violence have no place in our community.
Well, I mean, it looks like we got a lot of representation, but this representation is leading, it's not leading to really good things, honestly. The people in power, this is on y'all. It really is, because y'all have allowed this, you know, this it's a feeling of lawlessness. It's a feeling of lawlessness. The defund the police movement, criminal justice reform movement, all these things coming out of the heart of DC. And this is the result. Dangerous cities where little girls are getting killed. That's exactly why you have people making moves to separate themselves from the community, like the St. George community in Baton Rouge. They have, you know, won their freedoms, won their rights to, you know, separate from this foolishness. And it's about damn time.
I have a 5-year-old daughter, and it's not something that I would want to happen to any child or any loved one. And it is a tragedy.
A small memorial started by Bernard Brown Saturday morning near the scene of the shooting, a reminder of this loss. Brown, comforted by the fact that his goddaughter is in a better place as he and this family prays for justice.
I think the family would want closure. You know, I think the family would feel at ease, you know, knowing that something has been done about the situation.
It's painful for that family. The David Kaplan reporting for us this Sunday morning. At a briefing on Friday night, D.C. police said that they were still combing through evidence, and it is not entirely clear how many shooters they were, stressing that they need help from the community on this case, and they're asking people to give them a call.
Police identified the 3-year-old girl shot and killed in Southeast DC last night. Police say Tyah Settles was inside a car when she was struck. Tonight, a memorial lays where her life was tragically cut short. News 4's Dominique Moody spoke to her family.
Soaked dolls along with flowers make up this memorial for 3-year-old Tyah Settles. It's here where the young girl's life was tragically cut short. Settles' godfather, Bernard Brown, started the memorial to honor the little girl who meant the world to so many.
Tyah was very bright and smart. She loved to laugh, joke, and play. And she had a good sense of humor.
Last night, D.C. police responded to Hartford Street in Southeast for a report of a shooting. Moments later, the 3-year-old was found at a nearby fire station on Irving Street. She was airlifted to the hospital, where she later died. And
hold on, she was found at a fire station. Did they take her there and drop her off? Well, hold on, what the hell just happened?
For a report of a shooting. Moments later, the 3-year-old was found at a nearby fire station on Irving Street. She was airlifted to the hospital, where she later died.
She was found there, or somebody brought her there? Now that is an interesting detail.
Investigators say Settles was inside a car when an exchange of gunfire erupted.
These senseless killings of these children, toddlers, infants, adolescence has got to stop. It has got to cease.
Violence in the city right at this moment is a difficult thing. Families are suffering.
Evident remnants of last night's shooting was evident, with bullets striking this car steps away from Settles Memorial. ANC Commissioner Joseph Johnson says action is needed to cut down on crime that's leaving so many families grieving.
How about y'all lock these kids up who are doing it? I mean, let's keep it a buck. These are the single mother raised hoodlums, super gremlins who are out here in the streets blowing the city up, and these politicians refuse to come down on them, refuse to condemn them, refuse to lock them up, refuse to hold them accountable. And since that is taking place, we're not going to see any change. I'm trying to tell y'all, this story is going to blow over. It's not national news at all. It really isn't. It's a local story. It's not national news at all, right? Nobody outside of DC has heard of Tyah Settles. And I'm not saying that to disparage her, but what I am saying is the community is apathetic to these types of things. And that's the facts.
I'm calling on our city leaders to act, to do something, because ultimately the blood is on their hands. They have the power to do something, and it's not working, and families are losing loved ones every day.
Meantime, the family says they're praying for justice as they try to lean on the memories of 3-year-old Tyah Settles.
Tyah will be missed dearly. She will be loved dearly.
If you have any information about the shooting, you are asked to contact police. In the district, Dominique Moody, News 4.
Gang violence and other kind of violence. So it is what it is.